County. I am a target, victim, and activist concerning the continued criminal expeditions of what is known as organized stalking, which can also be termed as gang stalking. I pasted 2 YouTube video URL links within the title of this Periscope video. If you feel inclined, you can write them down on a piece of paper and then retype them and then type them in at your URL address bar in order to bring them up to listen to them and then research the descriptions and information that is exposed within them. The one YouTube video pertaining to the one that has 52211 in the description of the YouTube title, the name James Lambert that is within the title of that Periscope video is actually supposed to be James Walbert. James Walbert is also the individual that is giving the YouTube interview in the second YouTube URL link that is incorporated within the title of this Periscope video. Hold on, please. Now, at any time while I'm making this video, if this video stops abruptly and I'm still talking, still research what is exposed up to that point. Okay. My phone is hacked. It is also being used more than likely as a GPS tracker as a result of me being a target of this crime. And I have had numerous Periscope videos that have stopped while I'm in the middle of making them. Okay? So, if any video that you ever see of mine is abruptly stopped before I say thank you for listening, have a good day, goodbye, still always research what I've stated up to that point, including this one. Now, fellow American citizens, what I'm going to expose in this video, I'm going to have to expose creatively because of the simple fact that, well, for one, let me just backtrack a second. If you've never heard of this crime and then you continue to listen to what I have to state, you're going to think to yourself, you might think to yourself, what the hell is she talking about? What is going on? What's this all about? You know, and so on. I'm aware of that. I'm aware that you might have that initial and or instinctual mental response because some of the things that I described to you, you've never heard before. They may even sound bizarre, but here's the catch to this. What I state in this video is all over the internet, being exposed by tens of thousands of individuals in America and worldwide. Organized stalking and gang stalking is a crime that is going on in every single neighborhood, town, city, county, and state within the United States, and it is also being perpetrated in other countries as well. Hold on. Okay. So in order to be able to see that what target individuals expose, okay, our factual realities is to listen, research the descriptions, research the details of the descriptions and techniques that are exposed, and you will see truth. Now, fellow American citizens, most of what is going on towards gang stalking victims and what the gang stalking perpetrators do is not covered on your local news broadcast or in any local newspapers. So that is one of the reasons why the majority That is one of the main reasons why the majority of our fellow Americans are not even aware that this crime exists, let alone what is going on concerning it. And so it is our civil responsibility, is our human responsibility to expose what we know so the public at large can become informed. As a result of you becoming educated, you can take that knowledge and prepare yourself, okay, in order to protect yourselves, your property, and your loved ones. So, and make no mistake about it, I strongly suggest that you extensively research my descriptions, not only in this video, but also in my other Periscope videos dedicated to this account. Understand, this crime is exploding all over the country. It is the crime this crime, okay, is the main crime that is being exposed on the internet. Do you really think that something that's being exposed by tens of thousands of people in America and all over the world, okay, it being exposed, do you honestly think that something of this magnitude being exposed is being exposed because it doesn't exist? So use your common sense. Now, some of the statements that I'm going to make in this video, I am absolutely sure you've never heard of before, and this is the reason why it's being exposed. So cross-reference my statements to the research at Google and YouTube pertaining to the descriptions, okay, and the details of the descriptions, and pertaining to what you hear being exposed that is within the 2 YouTube videos that I have entitled, that I have incorporated within the title of the Periscope video. Now, before I proceed, I'm going to also make this statement as well. Target individuals, if they flat out openly state that specific things that are happening to them, if they openly state that they're happening to them, the criminally insane perpetrators that are in this system, okay, including courts, judges, prosecutors, public defenders, DA's office members, state attorney generals, and the doctors that are connected to courts and or courts within psychiatric floors, detention centers, jails, prisons, can use what you state against you. That old saying, we will use what you say against you in a court of law, does apply to this crime. Absolutely. Because, excuse me, this is a crime that is perpetrated at the federal level and the state, county, and city level. And make no mistake about it, police and courts are involved. So, if you state that you're being subject to covert technologies that are remotely perpetrated against you, just hear me out. In a video or online, they can take what you state and use it against you. You being brought before the courts as a result of a staged event that is brought about towards you as a result of GPS tracking. Hold on. Targets of this crime have to be very careful about what they openly state is happening to them. So read between the lines in reference to my follow-up statement and understand. So, is there a specific target individual? Let me backtrack for just a second. Okay, hear me out. Why is it that you can go to Google and even YouTube and type in ear implants and gang stalking? Okay, eye implants and gang stalking, the brain-to-computer interface implants and gang stalking. In fact, my descriptions that I've made and will make, all of them can be researched at Google and when appropriate YouTube, to first gang stalking, then to organized stalking. But this crime does also go by other names, like COINTELPRO, cause stalking, community stalking, same exact crime. It just goes by multiple different names. Okay? If at any point in this video you have a hard time hearing anything I state, just turn the volume up, put your headphones on, cancel out all noise that might be going on around you in the background so you can make sure you don't miss anything that I state. So I'm going to state right now some technologies that are being all over the internet, being reported, being perpetrated remotely against targeted individuals, and technologies that can be incorporated within the neurological and biological systems of a targeted individual. Remember what I stated. All descriptions can be Googled and when appropriate YouTube. Brain-to-computer interface implants and gang stalking. Stimulated responsive implants and gang stalking. In fact, I'm just going to give the names of the technologies and then type them into Google and YouTube to organize stalking and gang stalking. Stimulated responsive implants and gang stalking. Prosthetic implants and gang stalking. Ear implants, eye implants, bladder implants, vaginal implants, sorry for the descriptiveness, penis implants, in reference to implants that are put in men's private parts. Bowel implants and gang stalking, neural dust and smart dust and gang stalking. Let's see what else. EMG implants and gang stalking. Now, let me give you an example. Okay, concerning one way a targeted individual might be able to deduce if they have if they have implants in the specific areas I'm about ready to illustrate to you. But before I continue, I'm going to mention a couple other areas of the biological systems that implants can be put in a target individual. Okay, they're larynx, which would be probably more than likely stimulated responsive implants and or electrodes, and that term can be Googled at GangStalking as well. Okay, throat implants, jaw implants, tooth implants. Do what I tell you to do. Just do it. Trust me. It's all over the internet. Okay? Now, how do you think that they're able to also remote neural monitoring? Okay, Google that to gang stalking, and YouTube it too. Now, let me give you an example about how a selected target individual might be able to physiologically, okay, and consciously become aware that they have ear implants in them. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to turn my head to the right, and I'm going to use my finger here, and I'm going to show you a part of the ear. Okay, you see it? This part right here, okay? that part right there, that is just right above the bottom of the earlobe. Okay, it's that part that comes out. Okay, take that, close your mouth. Okay, and actually the best thing to do before you do it is put a piece of tissue in your other ear, and even in possibly in the ear that you're doing this to. Take your first finger. Okay, bring your head around this way. Take your finger. Okay, and press it against that part of the ear that sticks out a little bit. Okay, that's got more texture to it than the earlobe. Okay, and then press it in. Close your mouth, press it in. Hold your breath too. Okay. Now, if you hear in your mind, in your audio cortex, a steady flow of what appears to be a form of electricity, is that what it is? I'm making a statement. It's because these ear implants, which can also be called chlorella, I have a hard time pronouncing that, but you'll bring that name up, the actual name of it up, once you type in ear implants and GangStalking. And basically what they do is they operate through radio signals. They are constantly active, but they can be turned off at times. Okay, and as a result of them having a radio transreceiver, meaning that it receives and transmits, okay, within it. Okay, and it's also got a battery within it as well, but it also interfaces with the bioelectrical activity of the physiological system. Okay, because whenever we're active, including just breathing, our body is producing a bioelectrical chemical reaction, just like batteries work. Okay, well, what this technology can do, okay, is it becomes accustomed to the frequencies of the biological system, okay, that the biological system produces, and it will interface with it, so the biological system can actually be used as a battery to interface with the implants. Now, if you don't believe me concerning that, you can go to YouTube and type in MSNBC Palm Springs GangStalking. And you can Google this as well, and you'll clearly be able to hear even Kevin Bond from Palm Springs expose that these implants are interfacing with the biological systems. Because these filthy criminal maggots that are responsible for these criminal expeditions, okay, will use your own body against you. Now, these implants can also produce and induce and release radiation for slow kill torture. Okay, so you can research at Google and YouTube no-touch torture and GangStalking. Now, these implants, these audio implants, can, as a result, interface with, but not limited to, the audio cortex and the subvocal speech. Because if the target has implants, electrode implants and or stimulated responsive implants in the larynx and in the throat, okay, that can assist in the deciphering of what is being processed through subvocal speech that the remote neural monitoring is deciphering as a result of the remote neural monitoring interfacing with these implants. In other words, they can literally deduce through the remote neural monitoring what is being processed through the subvocal speech, which is basically your internal dialogue. Okay? So I strongly suggest you research remote neural monitoring and subvocal speech monitoring, okay? And whatever is processed through your subvocal speech is eventually processed up through the audio cortex. Are these ear implants interfacing with the audio cortex? Are the eye implants interfacing with the visual cortex? As a result, they're able to remotely neurally monitor and see what the visual cortex and audio cortex is processing. It's covert surveillance, and it's even a remote covert form of interrogation. Because think about this for a minute. When if you're sitting at a table in a room with 3 police detectives and they're interrogating you about anything, okay, what they're doing is trying to extract information from you as a result of the interrogation. Well, if you're being remotely neurally monitored, you're being interrogated here. Even though even though they're not consciously or physically interacting with you personally through conversation, you're still being interrogated because they're extracting information from you. That's why when you see on the internet descriptions of remote neural monitoring, it flat out talks about interrogation. Monitoring you and surveilling you to extract information from you is a form of interrogation. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, and that includes any physical interactions that you might be having with your own lawyer. So, fellow Americans, I strongly suggest you research what I'm stating, including my follow-up statements. Now, let me light a cigarette here real fast. And if this video stopped at any point, or if it doesn't broadcast after I make it, I obviously will have to make another one. But if it gets abruptly stopped and broadcast, research what I stated up to that point. Now, the filthy maggots in the system that are perpetrating these criminal realities are also using other technology to interface with the biological, neurological, selected target individual, and it is being used for non-stop torture every day. Why is it that you can go to Google and YouTube and type in forced induced speech in GangStalking, meaning that they can literally control your speech and induce speech, anything for you to say? That's even exposed in a very extremely marginal sense in the YouTube video of the news show, of the television show, The Brain Invaders, which you can YouTube by going to Google, which you can YouTube by going to YouTube and typing in The Brain Invaders Show with Jesse Ventura. Okay? The speech that's being manipulated in that show, that entire show, is about gang-stalking crimes. Target individuals are called, target individuals is another word, okay, that is used all over the internet to describe gang-stalking victims. And what you're seeing in that show is the microwave hearing effect and voice to skull in reference to the individuals who are stating they're hearing things, and directed energy weapons in reference to the electrical shocks that target individuals in that show are stating that their bodies are experiencing. Okay? Now, the manipulation of individuals' speech in that show, that is a rudimentary, extremely elementary form of speech conduction. Now, I already know for a fact that these filthy maggots have technologies that can induce a human being to say anything. Anything. In fact, everything that you've heard me state in this video right now, they can induce you to say. So go to Google and extensively research remote neural monitoring and forced induced speech. They literally have perfected this weaponry to literally control everything that comes out of a human being's mouth. Literally. And that includes in courts, jails, in the midst of any staged event or any physical interaction that you may have with police, courts, public defenders, prosecutors, and your own lawyers. This is done in order to try and entrap you as a result of the type of speech that comes out of your mouth. And you can also go to YouTube and type in Dr. Robert Duncan and Tyrone Dew. His last name is spelled D-E-W. Look for the two interviews that are online between them two. Research all descriptions that they state and listen to obviously everything they're stating. Why is it also all over the internet that you can research artificial dreams in gang-stalking? The only way that can be perpetrated is through hacking into the visual and audio cortex, because dreams also produce visual scenarios and audio, which are complemented with audio parts of the dream. Okay, so that's done through virtual reality, augmented reality, and actual visual productions, just like you see when you watch a movie. They're literally that real, literally. It's all over the internet, so just Google it. Trust me. Robert Duncan even talks about artificial dreams in the YouTube video interview that he's having with Tyrone Dew, D-E-W. So, fellow American citizens, you would not believe, okay, what is happening to us gang-stalking victims on a daily basis. Daily, from the second we wake up. I'm also going to direct you to ignore every single comment that is made on all of my Periscope videos at all times, whether they be nice, supportive, or harassing. Okay? Because I don't pay attention to none of them, because I already know I'm being trolled on Periscope, YouTube, okay, and my blogs. I don't pay attention to none of them, so nobody leave me a comment about anything, because that is my preference. Now, fellow American citizens, I have my reasons for stating that. So, fellow American citizens, at any time you can also research what is known as voice-to-skull technology, and how voice-to-skull is being used to constantly and repetitively. See, what they do with this technology is they have a bunch of different technologies that they incorporate within the main frame that the remote neural monitoring is in. And then features of all these different technologies that are incorporated within the main frame that the remote neural monitoring is in are used to harass and manipulate, harass the target, okay, in reference to the biological and neurological systems, and to, and for torture and manipulation. So when you research, I'm going to interject something to you for a second here. Hold on. Now, one of the functions that remote neural monitoring was designed to interface with in these primes is called the brain-to-computer interface. It's also called the brain-to-computer link. Okay. And what they will do is use voice-to-skull transmissions and or alpha wave transmissions and or the microwave hearing effect, so they can project sounds, harassing dialogue within the target's audio cortex and or around the target for the target to hear, pertaining to sounds that are being heard in the target's environment. John Hall is all over YouTube exposing this. You can go to YouTube and type in John Hall satellite terrorism. You can also go to Google and type in surveillanceissues.com. Okay, and so what this computer will do will streamline through a computer software program which is designed to loop, which means constantly play repetitive harassing dialogue, which is interchanged with selected sections of music into the target's audio cortex. The target can also be harassed about what they're processing internally pertaining to their own thoughts, which are their speech, which is subvocal speech. So the remote neural monitoring deciphers what the subvocal speech is processing. It then selects specific dialogue sets to harass the target based on the theme of what the target is processing. It's using artificial intelligence, and the remote neural monitoring deciphers what's being processed at the trillions of flops per second. Okay? Now, the target can also be subject to non-stop, repetitive, looped voice-to-skull transmissions, which can also encompass sections of music into their audio cortex. This is done to crowd out a target's own personal thoughts, because you cannot have two processed thoughts going on in your audio cortex at the same time. So consider if you have, like, say, a radio. Consider it like a radio playing in your head. Because remember what I said, these ear implants are transreceivers. Okay? This is a transmitter, a radio. Okay? But if the ear implants are also acting as receivers, that means that they're receiving something being transmitted into the ear implant, and whatever is transmitted into the ear implant is heard in the audio cortex. Understand? So imagine a radio being put up to your ear and played against your will, and non-stop harassing dialogue is heard in the audio cortex non-stop daily, mixed in with sections of music playing. Do you really think that you're going to be able to hold and to do and process your own internal thoughts as the audio cortex is experiencing this? Now, try it. Take out a radio, tape it to your head, play it at a medium volume, and then try and have a thought. Okay? That's one feature of what is happening to GangStalking victims. And if you want to be able to see that this is actually going on, here's a tidbit of information for you. Hear me out. Go to Google and type in GangStalking, repeating words and phrases around targets. Then go to Google and type in GangStalking, repeating identical words and phrases around a GangStalking target. And this is in reference to how the physical people that are propped up around a target every day are told to repeat words and phrases around a target every day. Then go to Google and type in B2K transmissions, repeating words, phrases, and then go to Google, repeating words and phrases, voice to skull, B2K. Then go to Google and type in voice to skull, B2K, repeating music in a target's head. Now I want you to think about what you just heard. I just explained to you one of the techniques that is going on around a target, that is perpetrated around a target through physical people. Now, when you type that into Google and you research what comes up as a result, then you go to Google and you type in how voice-to-skull transmissions are being used to send repeated harassing dialogue, repeated words and phrases to a target, including repeated music in a target's head through B2K. Do you really think that's an accident? Because think about this. B2K is directly connected to gang-stalking crimes. Gang-stalking, a huge aspect of gang-stalking crimes, is perpetrated through physical people that are propped up around the target. So if you have an identical method being propped up around the target by physical people that are propped up around the target to repeat words and phrases around the target every day, those are physical people being used in real time. Okay? Tape recorders don't lie when they catch it. Now, if you went to Google and typed in voice-to-skull transmissions, transmitting repeated words and phrases, look at what comes up. Do you think that's an accident? And voice-to-skull is all over the internet, being a technology that is being used on gang-stalking victims. So, fellow American citizens, welcome to the torture of gang-stalking victims. If you are trying to deliberate mentally, if you're trying to think every day about what you're going to do to get out of the obstacles, okay, like preparing what you need to do to go to a lawyer, what you're going to present to them, thinking about what you need to think about in order to conference with the Department of Education pertaining to getting out of the school loans that you were intentionally, okay, coerced to take out. If you're being subject to staged events which cause you to constantly have to move as a result of you being made homeless as a result of you being a gang-stalking victim, and you're tied up in the non-stop busyness of constantly having to move from wooded areas all throughout the year, having to move 16, 17 times in 1 year, okay, while taking care of current business, current harassment, current needs, securing your property at these wooded areas, and then constantly having to move from that one to that one to that one to that one, on top of taking your everyday needs, to take care of your everyday needs that you got to take care of throughout the year, grocery shopping, exposing what's currently happening to you, exposing evidence, exposing past things that have happened to you, correlating the evidence together to try and synthesize it together for presentation to lawyers, and right before you go to lawyers, or right when you start getting things a little bit wrapped up, things all of a sudden magically happen to your blog and your Twitter account, okay, or you're forced to move again. You're obviously tied up in these results, and as a result, you're physically prohibited from going to lawyers. As a result, the year goes by, and you haven't been able to get a lawyer or obtain one before your next redetermination with federal student loans. Okay? Hold on. And these are the techniques of gang stalking, because they want to entrap you in these loans by creating obstacles that are designed to keep you from getting out of the entrapment, by physically tying you up in the nonstop business. This is what I went through in the past 3 years. In fact, since I've been in San Diego since August 8, 2011, and it's exactly what they did to me in Connecticut and in Michigan. Every single time that I prepared to go to lawyers in Michigan, Connecticut, and San Diego, I've either been forced to move, ticketed, arrested, assaulted, okay, or a combination of all. Every single time in 3 states. I really believe that's an accident. So what I'm describing to you, fellow American citizens, are the factual realities of gang stalking. Why is it also all over the internet that target individuals are being medically blacklisted from being able to get these implants out? If you want to see a picture, hold on. If you want to, here's some supporting documentation that you can deduce to see these implants, well, outside of what the internet will produce to you concerning these implants, is to name the name of 3 books right now that you can go to Google and type in their titles. The Invisible Crime, Remote Brain Targeting, and Electronic Torture, Electronic Rape Technology, and GangStalking at the Post Office, written by Jewel Cran. You can also go to Google and YouTube and extensively research the David Larson Torture Report, GangStalking. You can also go to Google and YouTube and extensively research James Walberg. Okay? So, fellow American citizens, the only thing I can say to you right now, to your face, is that the police are absolutely directly and absolutely criminally directly connected to this crime, because they make sure the targets at the local level are never allowed to get out of the obstacles that the targets are attempting to get out of. They keep the target in the obstacles through the staged events, which is nothing but staged probable cause, so the target can be arrested or ticketed to tie the target up in the effects and proceedings of courts. Okay. How they will continue to target in jail, like when they're going through a Social Security review. Okay. Ain't that nice? So the target better make a plea bargain in court, or they'll be kept in jail and never be and as a result, they won't be physically able to do what they have to do to take care of the review through Social Security. Same thing with Social Services reviews or federal student loan reviews. Now, how do you think that the police can play a role in this? Because it's a nationwide operating, networking, operating syndicate that is at the federal level, the state, and local level. They take the information pertaining to what's going on concerning a target situation, and then take that information, prop up the staged event right before these reviews are going on, or as they're going on, okay? Or as they're concluding. They know the target needs to be physically free in order to be able to be attentive to it, and they stage events to incarcerate the target, and then state to the target that you better agree with what we're offering you in reference to what we're offering to you in court, and if you don't agree to it, we'll hold you in jail until the trial. As a result, you're stuck in physical jail, and you're not able to be attentive to these redeterminations and these reviews. As a result, the Social Security, Social Services, and federal student loan will try and make it appear that since you weren't attentive to these reviews, you now are either taken off the benefits, and in order to get back on them, you have to reapply and or pay a certain amount of money that you owed during the months while you were in jail. And that's referring to federal student loans. Welcome to the clever schemes of GangStalking. And if you don't think that they're not taking financial profiles of you and your profiles concerning your Social Security, your financial situation, think again. Okay? Absolutely. I know for a fact. In fact, when you do your research concerning remote neural monitoring at Google, like the lawsuit between the NSA and John St. Clair, you'll see that Social Services individuals are implicated as being NSA agents. Absolutely. I strongly suggest you research what I've stated. Now, fellow American citizens, this technology is being used for non-consensual human experimentation, which absolutely encompasses non-stop neurological, physiological, and biological torture every single day, including while a target is sleeping. Literally. We are kept intentionally isolated in these victimizations every day as a result of the police, the public defenders, the prosecutors, the judges, and the doctors connected to psychiatric floors, detention centers, jails, prisons, and even private psychologists and psychiatrists, and the doctors connected to courts, subcontracted or not. Make no mistake about it. All these descriptions can be Googled. Like, for instance, why is it that you can get Google-generated responses to psychiatrists in jails? Why is GangStalking going on in psychiatric floors? Google that. Yeah, baby. Ain't nothing like organized crime in the system, baby cakes. In order to be able to implement these victimizations and to protect them at the state, county, and local level, they have to have propped up protective mechanisms within the state, county, and city levels in order to protect them. And how do you protect a crime from being prosecuted? By making sure that they're protected in the system. Courts, law enforcement, jails, detention centers, I can tell you something right now. I already know for a fact that the San Diego Sheriff's Department is heavily involved in these crimes, as well as SDPD. Absolutely. And why is it all over the internet that California Highway Patrol is being implicated in gang stalking? Look, I look at it this way. I don't give two shits. I do not care at all in any way, shape, or form who you are at all. Period. Period. If you target me and or any of my fellow targeted individuals, you will one day be exposed by me. Make no mistake about it. Make no mistake about it. I don't care who you are, who you think you are, what agency you're connected to, or what influence that comes with it, or what you do to me. Because I plan on spending every single day of the rest of my life exposing this crime. Flat out. Alright, fellow American citizens, at the end of the day, okay, the last bastion of hope that you have to protect yourself, your freedom, and your rights is your mind and your body. And any wild maggot that would target this is nothing but a criminally insane animal who deserves exposure and legal prosecution. And this is what I do. So I strongly suggest you research what I've incorporated within the title of this periscope. Look, they're targeting kids. What does that tell you about these insane maggots? To even target a defenseless child. What does that tell you about these people? They're insane criminals, and they need to be treated as sane. All right, so research what's in the title of this periscope video. Research my descriptions. Cross-reference the information that comes up. Synthesize it together, and you will know truth. Now, they're going to jail me concerning these federal student loans. They're going to claim that I have no evidence to prove that they were coerced in any way to be taken out. The police will continually be used against me. Staged events will occur towards me in wooded areas for arrests, tickets, property thefts, and assaults, and along my routes. So I strongly suggest you go to Google and research how they will claim a target as a threat to themselves or others, mentally ill and or can't take care of themselves, in order to be able to isolate the target in physical environments they control, including group homes and jails, in order to contain the exposure and to continue the crimes. Right there, buddies, because I already know my internet activities are being surveilled. This is all over the internet to be directly connected to gang stalking crimes. UCSD police, I will go after you legally for the rest of my life until you are prosecuted in court. Make no mistake about it. And same thing with the San Diego Prosecutor's Office. So, fellow Americans, go to my blog, which is attached to my Twitter account, which is at HIGGINSGGGG, and you will experience truth. Thank you for listening.